I leave the dealership, travel 5 kilometers down the road, and my engine fails again.
Most engines built today have the potential to reach 200,000 miles without breaking a sweat. The reality, though, tells a different story. Many of them barely make it to 120,000 miles before serious problems start showing up. The reason isn't some manufacturing defect or bad luck. It comes down to simple neglect. Spending less than 10 minutes each month on basic maintenance can literally double how long your car stays on the road. I'm holding back the most valuable tip for the end, the one that separates engines that die young from those that keep going strong past 500,000 miles. Oil keeps your engine alive. That's not an exaggeration. I've watched more engines completely fail because of oil neglect than any other single reason. Taking 2 minutes once a month to check it makes all the difference. Open your hood, locate the dipstick, pull it out, clean it with a rag, push it back in all the way, then pull it out again to get an accurate reading. That little stick gives you better information than any dashboard light ever could. Fresh, healthy oil looks clear with an amber color similar to honey straight from the jar. When it turns dark and gritty, or when it gives off a burnt smell, that oil desperately needs changing. The level matters just as much. Running even 1 quart below the full mark might seem harmless, but that's exactly when metal parts start rubbing directly against each other. Once that grinding damage happens, there's no reversing it. I've turned this into a personal routine. Every first Saturday of the month, I grab my coffee and a clean rag, then spend those 2 minutes checking the oil delivery drivers who follow this simple habit regularly see their vehicles hit 300,000 miles. Engines keep running when someone actually takes care of them. While the hood stays open, another quick check takes just seconds and prevents a problem that can destroy an engine faster than almost anything else. Bad oil kills engines slowly. Overheating kills them fast. Too many people completely ignore their coolant until smoke starts pouring out, and by then it's usually too late. Make sure the engine has cooled down completely before doing this check. Never, and I mean never, try opening the radiator cap when the engine is hot, unless you want scalding antifreeze spraying in your face. Look at the coolant reservoir on the side. You'll see minimum and maximum markings. The fluid level should sit somewhere between those 2 lines. Beyond just the level, look closely at the color. Fresh coolant appears bright and clean, usually showing up as green, orange, or pink depending on what your specific vehicle uses. If it looks rusty brown, milky white, or if you spot oil floating on the surface, that signals major trouble. These signs often point to a blown head gasket or oil contaminating the cooling system. A mechanic friend once told me about a customer who came in thinking he just needed a simple coolant top-off. The fluid had turned coffee brown and his engine was already cooked beyond any hope of repair. 2 minutes of monthly checking could have saved him several $1,000s and a whole lot of frustration. Since you're already inspecting things under the hood, there's another code. Sometimes a $30 belt or a worn rubber hose brings the whole system crashing down. Engines overheat, alternators stop charging the battery, power steering fails completely, all because someone never bothered looking at their belts and hoses. Grab a flashlight once a month and give them a proper inspection. Belts should appear solid and intact. Look for cracks running across them, shiny glazed areas, or frayed edges with strings peeling off. Press down on them with your finger. They shouldn't feel too loose, and you definitely shouldn't hear squealing sounds when starting the car. Those signs mean the belt needs tightening or replacing soon. For hoses, squeeze them gently with your hand. A healthy hose feels firm but not rock solid, and definitely not mushy. Watch for bulges anywhere along the length, wetness or drips around the metal clamps, or visible cracks in the rubber. When a hose blows out, it dumps all the coolant in seconds, and that's basically game over for your engine. One customer rolled into the shop with smoke billowing from under his hood. His serpentine belt had snapped while driving on the highway, and without that belt, the water pump stopped turning. By the time he managed to pull over safely, his engine was running hotter than a backyard grill in July. A simple monthly driveway inspection could have prevented that entire expensive disaster. While you've got that flashlight out, don't overlook the next item. It might not seem obvious, but ignoring it leads to weird electrical problems that will absolutely drive you crazy trying to fix. Engines need more than just fuel and air to run. They rely on steady electrical power too. A poor connection at the battery terminals can make your entire car behave like it's possessed by gremlins. Once a month, open the hood and take a close look at the battery posts and cable connections. When you see white crusty buildup, green fuzzy corrosion, or any kind of gunk accumulating there, it needs cleaning right away. A wire brush and some baking soda mixed with water work perfectly for this job. After scrubbing everything clean, make absolutely sure the clamps sit tight. Try wiggling them. If they move around at all, they're too loose and need tightening. Keeping those connections clean and secure means your starter motor spins with full power, your ignition system fires correctly, and all your engine sensors receive accurate voltage to do their jobs properly. Neglect these connections and you'll end up chasing bizarre electrical issues that never seem to make any logical sense. Now that we're talking about sensors and proper airflow, let's move to something that looks basic but plays a huge role in how well your engine breathes and performs. Your engine basically works as a giant air pump. It pulls air in, mixes it with fuel, burns that mixture, then pushes the exhaust out. Cut off the air supply and you choke the life right out of the engine. That's exactly what happens when people drive around with a completely clogged air filter. During your monthly oil inspection, take an extra minute to pop open the air box. Most vehicles just use a few clips or screws to hold it closed. Pull the filter out and hold it up toward a light source. If you can't see light passing through it, your engine definitely can't pull enough air through it either. That means wasted fuel, rough idling at stoplights, and unnecessary stress on everything from the spark plugs to the catalytic converter. Air filters cost very little compared to the protection they provide. When it looks gray, packed with dead bugs, or just plain filthy, swap it out for a fresh one. Don't wait until your car struggles to breathe. Moving from the engine itself down to where the rubber meets the road, your tires quietly affect how hard your engine has to work more than most people realize. Not many folks understand this connection, but your tires directly impact how much effort your engine puts out. Driving on underinflated tires creates the same effect as dragging your car down the street with the parking brake slightly engaged. That extra rolling resistance forces the engine to burn significantly more fuel just to maintain normal speeds. Get yourself a reliable tire pressure gauge and actually use it. Don't trust the one hanging at the gas station. It's been dropped countless times and probably reads incorrectly. Check all 4 tires when they're cold, preferably before you've driven anywhere. Look for a sticker inside the driver's door frame. That sticker tells you the exact correct pressure for your specific vehicle. Ignore the number stamped on the tire sidewall that only shows the maximum pressure the tire can handle, not what you should actually run. While checking pressures, pay attention to how the car feels when driving. If the steering wheel constantly pulls to one side, or if you notice uneven wear patterns on the tires, your alignment has gone off. Bad alignment doesn't just eat through expensive tires faster. It puts extra strain on your entire suspension system and makes the drivetrain work harder than necessary. Proper inflation and correct alignment keep your car rolling smoothly and give your engine an easier time doing its job. Speaking of making things easier on your engine, there's a small component under the hood that has a big job keeping everything clean on the inside. This small part, the PCV valve, might win the award for most overlooked component under any hood. It's tiny, cheap, and usually hidden away, but when it clogs up or gets stuck, your entire engine suffers the consequences. The PCV valve serves a simple but critical purpose. It vents built-up pressure and vapors out of the crankcase and routes them back into the intake to be burned off properly. Without a working PCV valve, sludge accumulates inside the engine, seals start leaking oil, and oil ends up in places it shouldn't go. Once a month, locate it and pull it out. Give it a good shake. You should hear a light rattling sound inside. If it stays silent and feels stuck solid, or if it's packed with sticky gunk, or if the hose connected to it shows cracks, replace it immediately. These valves cost as little as $5 but prevent thousands in potential engine repairs. Check it monthly, keep it functioning, and your engine stays cleaner inside. While you're down there hunting for small things that cause big headaches, take a second to glance underneath your car. What's dripping onto your driveway or garage floor might be telling you an important story before things get worse. Engines don't only fail when something breaks catastrophically, they also slowly bleed fluids right under your nose while you're not paying attention. The ground underneath your car works like a report card. If you never look at it, you're missing free information that could save you a fortune. Once a month, move your car out of its usual parking spot and inspect what's been left behind. See a puddle forming? Don't just kick some dirt over it and walk away. Look closer at what it actually is. Clear water usually just means AC condensation and nothing to worry about. But dark brown or black fluid means oil is escaping. Red or pink liquid could indicate transmission fluid or power steering fluid. Green, orange, or pink fluid that feels slippery between your fingers signals coolant. Even a few drops matter more than you'd think. A small oil leak today transforms into a starved engine tomorrow. A slow coolant leak becomes an overheated engine waiting to happen on your next highway drive. I've heard stories of people ignoring mysterious stains for months until one day their engine overheated on a busy freeway and seized up completely solid. Catching leaks early saves thousands. Replacing a gasket costs way less than installing a whole new engine. Since we're focusing on catching problems before they snowball into disasters, let's talk about a smart tool that reveals what's wrong before your car even hints that something's off. Your car's computer knows something's going wrong before you do. The problem is that most people wait until the check engine light illuminates the dashboard, or even worse, until the car starts running poorly. By that point, damage has already started working its way through the system. That's where an OBD2 scanner becomes invaluable. These devices are inexpensive, plug directly into a port under your dashboard, and display exactly what the car's computer is detecting. Scan your car once a month regardless of whether any warning lights are showing. Some developing issues don't trigger dashboard lights immediately. You might have misfire counts gradually building, an oxygen sensor getting lazy in its readings, or fuel trim numbers drifting outside normal ranges. The scanner catches these problems before they turn into expensive repair bills. Mechanics have seen customers tow cars in for what seemed like sudden breakdowns. Plugging in a scanner revealed that the problem had actually been developing for months. If they'd checked earlier with their own scanner, they'd be looking at a $40 sensor replacement instead of a $4,000 repair job. Think of this as a monthly checkup for your car's electronic brain. Once the computer gives you a clean bill of health, you still need to verify the spark that makes combustion happen. Engines live and die based on spark quality. No spark means no combustion. Weak spark leads to misfires, wasted fuel, and cylinder walls getting washed down with raw gasoline that destroys your piston rings. Once that kind of damage sets in, you can't reverse it. Once a month, carefully examine your spark plug wires and ignition coils. If your car uses old-school plug wires, run your hands along their length. Feel for cracks, areas where they've become brittle, or spots where they're rubbing against hot metal parts. At night, you can spray them lightly with a water bottle. If you see tiny sparks dancing along the wires, they're leaking voltage and need replacing. On modern coil-on plug systems, check for corrosion or burn marks on the rubber coil boots. Pull one off and inspect it closely. If the rubber looks dried out and cracked, or if you see carbon tracking, those thin black lines running along the surface, that coil is failing. One customer complained about terrible gas mileage for months. His spark plug wires had worn so badly they were arcing electricity directly to the valve cover. The engine was basically fighting against itself with every firing cycle. New wires and coils installed, and suddenly the car drove like it just rolled off the factory floor. Good spark means clean, efficient power delivery. Bad spark means stress on every single moving part in your engine. Speaking of clean and efficient, let's discuss where air and fuel come together, because dirt in these areas throws your whole engine out of balance. Your throttle body and mass airflow sensor work like the lungs and nose of your engine. The throttle body controls exactly how much air enters. The MAF sensor tells the computer precisely how much air is flowing through. When either component gets dirty, your engine's breathing gets compromised and everything from idle quality to fuel economy takes a hit. Over time, carbon deposits build up around the throttle plate. It starts sticking instead of moving smoothly, and your idle becomes rough or climbs higher than normal. The MAF sensor sits directly in the intake stream where it constantly collects dirt, oil mist, and dust particles. Once contamination builds up, it can't measure airflow accurately anymore, so the computer starts guessing at the right fuel mixture. That creates rich fuel conditions, hesitation during acceleration, and extra stress on the engine. Cleaning these components takes very little time. Once a month, disconnect the intake hose and spray throttle body cleaner around the plate. Use a clean rag to wipe away the gunk, but avoid forcing the plate wide open by hand. For the MAF sensor, only use cleaner specifically designed for MAF sensors. Never touch those delicate sensor wires with your fingers. A couple of quick sprays, let everything air dry completely, and you're done. Keep these two parts breathing clearly and your engine runs smooth, powerful, and efficient. While we're discussing fluids and efficiency, there's one maintenance item that often gets overlooked but makes a real difference in long-term engine health. Engines perform best when fuel burns cleanly and completely. The problem comes over time. Fuel injectors gradually clog up, carbon deposits form on intake valves, and combustion chambers get dirty. All of this makes the engine work harder, run rougher, and waste fuel. Once a month, run quality fuel system treatment through a full tank. Don't just grab whatever cheap bottle sits on the shelf. Choose a trusted brand specifically designed to clean injectors and break down carbon deposits. Pour it into your tank before filling up so it mixes properly with the gasoline. Clean injectors spray fuel in a fine mist pattern, creating an ideal burn. Clogged injectors dribble fuel poorly, causing misfires, hesitation, and reduced fuel economy. Mechanics have pulled injectors so badly clogged they barely sprayed anything at all, and the engine sounded like it was running on 3 cylinders instead of 4. One treatment later, everything smoothed right out. Whenever possible, use top-tier gasoline from reputable stations. The extra detergents in that fuel help keep things cleaner between treatments. A clean fuel system keeps your engine strong, efficient, and running for the long haul. Moving beyond things you can buy in a bottle, the next habit requires using your ears and paying attention to what your engine is trying to communicate. Engines constantly communicate their condition. You just have to actually listen. Most people crank up the radio volume and completely ignore the sounds that could save them thousands of dollars. Once in a while, drive with the radio turned off and the windows down. Pay real attention to what you hear. Knocking or pinging sounds like metal marbles rattling inside a can. This often indicates bad fuel quality, carbon buildup, or timing problems. Ignore these sounds and you'll damage pistons. Ticking or tapping could mean low oil levels, worn valve lifters, or valves needing adjustment. Sometimes it's just a small exhaust manifold leak. Either way, it deserves investigation. Squealing, that high-pitched screaming noise, usually means a loose or worn belt. If it snaps while driving, you could instantly lose your alternator, water pump, or power steering. Grinding often points to failing bearings in accessories like the alternator, water pump, or AC compressor. Let it continue too long and the part can seize completely and throw the belt off. Hissing sounds like air escaping somewhere. This could indicate a vacuum leak, which messes with fuel trim and makes the engine run rough. Thumping or clunking usually involves motor mounts, suspension components, or drivetrain stress transferring through the engine bay. These sounds tell you stories, you just have to listen to them. This might surprise you, but babying your engine can actually kill it faster than occasionally pushing it. When you only take short trips, let it idle extensively, or never rev past 2,000 RPM, carbon builds up inside like cholesterol-clogging arteries. The result includes clogged injectors, sticky piston rings, sluggish performance, and poor fuel economy. Once a month, after the engine reaches full operating temperature, take it on the highway and let it work. I'm not suggesting you redline it at every stoplight or drive recklessly. Just give it some spirited acceleration, let it stretch out, and hold higher RPMs for a reasonable period. This helps by burning carbon deposits off combustion chambers and valve surfaces. It cleans the catalytic converter, helping it maintain efficiency. It keeps piston rings moving freely instead of sticking from constant low-speed buildup. It improves overall airflow by clearing out gunk that never gets expelled during gentle driving. Engines are designed and built to operate across their full speed range. Driving too gently all the time actually prevents them from staying clean and efficient. Giving your car a proper workout once in a while helps it stay healthier for much longer. Every modern vehicle depends on dozens of ground connections to complete electrical circuits properly. When those grounds corrode, loosen, or develop resistance, strange phantom problems start appearing. You might see weak fuel pump performance, misfiring coils, failing sensors, even transmissions acting completely crazy. People waste thousands replacing parts when the actual problem is just a dirty ground connection. Once a month, inspect and clean your main ground points. Find the metal straps and bolts connecting the engine to the chassis and the battery negative cable to the body. Remove them one at a time, scrub thoroughly with a wire brush until you see clean, bright metal, then tighten everything securely and coat the connection with dielectric grease. This single maintenance task saves your car's electronic control unit and keeps every system operating at full strength. Take these monthly habits seriously and your engine will reward you with years of reliable, trouble-free performance.